Ashish is a Bachelor of Commerce graduate who, after finishing his BCom, worked in commerce industry for 6 years. Then he did something that allowed him to make a transition in IT industry as a software engineer. Since past 6 years, he has been working as a .NET developer. In this video, we are going to talk about how he learned necessary skills, what kind of challenges he faced before he got his first job in IT industry, and in the end of the video we will talk about three solid tips that anyone can use who is trying to make this transition to IT industry. Let's get started. Ashish, thanks for coming to the show. Can you talk about your current profile right now?
Okay, Dhaval, thanks for having me in your show. Very, very excited to be part of your, YouTube video. Let me just start with a brief background. So I work as a .NET developer, uh, and I'm based out of Dehradun. I work with a company called Evon Technologies, and most of my role is working on the applications which involves .NET Stack. But I also like to work with React, Angular, like JavaScript technologies, and I'm also trying to learn cloud technologies. So that's like pretty much what I'm currently working on.
Got it. Now let's discuss your background, which is pretty interesting. I think you have a BCom degree, so you can say
Right.
you can talk about how you got interested in IT, and also talk about after BCom if you had some job experience in your domain, which was like BCom.
So my interest in IT started immediately when I graduated because I realized that I was not pretty interested in what I was the careers that BCom degree offered, but I didn't knew where to go at that point. So I started off working in back office operations with a company called JP Morgan, and I worked in that role for about 4 or 5 years after
Okay.
BCom. So before I switched to IT, I had about 6 years of experience in other careers. And after that, I switched into IT.
Many times people think that, okay, I have done BCom, now I have worked in my domain for 5 to 6 years. It's very hard to move to IT, but you are proving those people to be wrong. So tell me, what got you
Mhm.
interested in IT exactly? And then once you had that interest, how did you learn the
Mhm.
necessary skills?
Okay. So my interest in IT, as I told you, I developed something, I think, after 2 or 3 years. So what happened was I started learning Excel. Now, in these back office operation job, you typically work heavily on Excel. So
Hmm.
I was learning Excel, but I started learning VBA, and I started finding that pretty interesting. And that involved programming, some sort of programming. So when I started working with that, I thought that, why not go more into programming? And so I was trying to understand where all can I go. So I was trying to work on Microsoft Access, and I also worked with other Microsoft applications. So they have this typical VBA which support like multiple applications. So I was working on that, and then at one point I thought, this is like a very small world. Like I am confined to Microsoft Office suite, right? I
Hmm.
cannot move out of that. So that's what provoked me to go one step ahead. So I found out that you there is software development which is like full-fledged code, and you have like these various technologies that I started exploring. So that's how I developed interest. So that was also gradual. I worked in with Excel for about 2 3 years, and like VBA and automation. And after that, once I realized I didn't know where to go. So initially I was trying a lot of things online. I was trying to watch YouTube videos, some Udemy courses, but honestly I could not reach anywhere, and I didn't had any tech connection, so I didn't do any software developer as such or anybody who was connected to IT. I was kind of lost at that point, so I thought, let me take one concrete step. And I
Hmm.
think that was the main starting point. I took one concrete step, that I joined a offline course
Hmm.
because I couldn't find anything concrete online. So I joined a C programming and a SQL course.
Hmm.
And there I found some people who were trying to get into development. And I also found some seniors who were teaching programming. So they were obviously from that background. So that journey started there. Now, how I built my skills is what after I joined this course, I started picking on other technologies simultaneously at my work. So I started learning HTML, I started learning CSS, started learning JavaScript. I kind of transitioned slightly inside my office itself into being a software developer. We had a department called software development, and they were working on .NET technology. So honestly, I didn't even knew if I was going to go into .NET. I didn't do anything.
Huh.
All I knew was I wanted to code.
Within JP Morgan, you were working as in back office operation after your BCom
Uh,
degree, and then
yeah.
within JP Morgan itself, you became software engineer, like you transitioned to a different department.
No, that was not in JP Morgan. That was with a company called MediManage. So after JP Morgan, I switched three profiles. So it was not a straightforward path there.
Got
There's
it.
like a lot of details after that. So at MediManage, I switched my department. I took an internal job posting. That you can say I was lucky that I got to switch into software department, but it came at a cost. So I had to take a cut in my salary. I had to take a 30% cut on my salary because
Ah.
the most senior developer there was being paid that salary. So they said that, at least we can't pay you more than that. So I had to take that cut. So that's how the journey began. Now, when learning these skills, it took me quite a while. I would say almost 1 year to learn all the skills, because there are like a lot of skills. So when you're starting out, you have to learn in web development. You have HTML, CSS,
Mhm.
you have JavaScript, you have a lot of things.
Hmm.
And I think when you're starting out, that initial 1 year you have to goes into a lot of learning. So I think that I would say it took me 1 year to learn those skills, and it was mostly some online and some I got to know some friends who are in software development. So they kind of helped me do this transition.
Got it. So if I have to summarize what you said, there are a couple of points. Number one point is if you are someone who is trying to transition from non-IT to IT, it is best to learn the skills on your current job. So although your current job is in back
Yes,
office operation, you're still using things like Excel. And Excel, I have seen, is often the best tool that can help you
right.
begin that new journey. And in Excel, when you are doing VBA, many people don't realize you are already doing coding.
Hmm.
Many people I've seen, yesterday I
Yes.
was talking to someone who is many years back, he built some dashboards in Excel and he
Hmm.
never realized he's already doing data analyst work.
Right.
So that is,
Absolutely correct. Yeah, I would 100% agree to that. In fact, I learned about loops, conditional statement in VBA itself. So
hmm,
that was the added advantage that I got there. So I think anybody who is learning, this is a very useful tool, because in Excel you don't need a environment to code, right? You can just
yes,
enable developer tools and you
yeah.
have a coding environment there.
Yes, amazing point. So anyone who wants to transition, you are most likely using Excel is something you use in any job. Just start using some VBA
Right.
macros, start doing some basic dashboarding. In Excel, you can, build
Yeah.
charts and you can build dashboard. People don't
Yeah.
realize, but Excel is very powerful. So that is
Yeah.
one summary of your discussion. Second point is, see, once you have worked for many years in your own domain and now you're transitioning to IT, you have to be ready to take salary cut. Not always,
Yeah.
but there are times where you have to
But
take
the wrong timing.
temporary setback, temporary you are cutting off salary,
Right.
but long term you will be making more money, most likely, right?
Absolutely. Uh, in fact, if I compare the whatever package or whatever salary that I've been able to reach as a software developer, I can never imagine having that salary unless I move into some kind of senior managerial role, right? Because you don't typically get good salaries the same grade in
Got it.
operations kind of jobs. Yeah.
Perfect. And the third point of your discussion was that when you are transitioning, uh, many times people learn things online. But I think in your case, now
Mm-hmm.
I have seen there are many folks who are good with online learning, but in your case, you
Mm-hmm.
found offline learning to be useful. So offline, like having interaction,
Yes.
human interaction, having
Yes.
mentors,
Yes.
right? Mentors who can tell you if you're going in the right direction. And I
Correct.
want to
Correct.
tell people that on Code Basics, we are starting a Code Basics Angels program. We
Mm-hmm.
declared that program many months back, but it was delayed. But we'll soon begin it, where a person can pair up with an IT professional who is working in the industry. So this is all like free volunteer program, and you can get
Mm-hmm.
enough guidance. So I think rather than just buying 100 courses from Udemy, it's best that you talk to someone, you get the guidance, and you decide a path for yourself, and then you start buying course.
correct.
Because I've seen people, they heard, okay, they hear machine learning, they will buy machine learning course.
Hmm.
They hear cyber
Right, right.
security, they'll start doing that. And you have done 100 courses and now you're lost, you're nowhere. So it's best that you get personal guidance. Because the advice that I give to you, let's say Ashish,
Hmm.
might be very different
Hmm.
than the advice that I give to someone else as a mentor. So it's
Right,
best that you
right.
pair up with some good mentor, wise, good person who doesn't have any kind of objective, like on any selfish objective,
Yeah,
because that's
right,
important,
right.
right? And then you decide a path and then you start learning. All right.
Yeah, so I just to add to that one point that when you are trying to learn, even in IT development, there are like a lot of places where you can go. You can have front end, you can have back end, you have databases, then you have data science. And I think it is very important to have a mentor, so they can guide you that okay, this is what you are good at. Maybe you can go into this particular area. This is more suitable for you, and I think this is very helpful in that case.
Absolutely. Okay, what are the three
Right.
major challenges you faced in this journey?
I think the first major challenge that took many years of my IT career was the fear that, will
Hmm.
I be able to do it? Because I was a BCom graduate, and I think it's very common. Like,
Hmm.
if you ask, at least in India, that's what I saw with my friends or my relatives, that the common thing they will say is that BTech graduates are not finding job. You are a BCom graduate and you are thinking of getting into IT, right? And it's actually true.
Yes.
Now you see many big talk graduates, they are not able to find jobs, and you are saying, I am a BCom graduate and I will become a software developer.
And
They
that too,
they will
five,
say,
6 years experience in your domain, right? It's not like
right,
you're
right,
just
right.
graduated. Yeah.
You are like slightly older than them. You are not a fresh graduate. So I think that took many years away from my. But I think the journey began slightly late, so that's
Okay.
fine. But yeah, that was the first challenge that came across. I think major challenge. Second was understanding this whole ecosystem of software development.
Hmm.
So when you get into, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of things that you need to know, right? It's not like Excel. With Excel, you only have programming, so you code and you
Hmm.
just see the result. But that's not the case with software development. There are many things that go along, right, with software development, along with the code. So understanding the different pieces and how they come together, I think that was another major challenge that I struggled with. um, and apart from that, not having mentors, I would say, initially. So initially, when I started, I gave a lot of time to online learning. In fact, my first video that I saw was in 2011 Java. I was trying to learn Java, and I couldn't even set up the development environment for
Huh.
Java. So I think having somebody, like you mentioned, having a mentor, it makes your journey very very fast.
Huh.
But initially, since I didn't had any friend circle, so that was another challenge that I struggled with.
So the summary is, if you are transitioning to IT, make some friends who are already working in the industry, right? And then
Correct, correct.
just get some initial level of guidance. All right, now many people who are watching this video might be like you. They have, probably the person who is watching right now might have BCom degree or some non-tech degree, right? And they want to transition
Hmm.
to, let's say, IT or data industry. What are the three
Hmm.
advices you would give based on your experience?
So I think one advice is, don't feel that since there are other tech graduates, you will be compared to them, and they will always have an upper hand because they have a tech background. I personally have never experienced this, although many people told me that it will be
Hmm.
this way. Even with job applications, or even with the, in a company setup, when you are compared, it's not that, oh, you are a BCom graduate, we won't promote you, or we
Huh.
won't give you this opportunity, right? I've never seen that. It's been like 6.5 years now I am working in tech, and I maybe it happens sometime, but very rarely I feel. So that is one. So even if you transition into tech, you should not live with that inferiority
That's
complex. That
That's a great point that you mentioned, because you are working in Indian IT sector. I'm receiving many comments
mm,
on YouTube that no, Indian companies are work differently. They give
mm,
importance to BTech degree. If we are not from BTech, we don't get interview call,
mm,
we don't get treated. But Folks, listen to this person. He's living that life.
Right.
He's saying he did
Yeah.
not have any problem on that front. So the
Yeah.
point we want to say to people is that don't listen to all the people who are putting negativity in your brain, right? Just
Right. Right.
be positive and start the journey. At least there, you won't lose anything. You're
Right.
learning something. Let's say even if you don't make
Yes.
career in IT, is there is nothing to lose because you learned
Yeah.
something.
Yes. You will at least not have a regret that you did not try.
Yes.
This is one point I forgot to mention. This is one point why I tried,
Hmm.
because I was always living with that I wish I had tried, and it was
Hmm.
5 years that I was living with the same thought. So at
Yes.
least you would not have the regret that you did not
Yes.
try, and it
Yes.
might work out, right?
Yep.
So true, true. So that is one. Second is who wants to get into IT. I think learn the basics well. So
Huh.
in even in IT sector today, I think most people are not getting hired because people are looking for good developers, you know, and good developers are good problem solvers.
Hmm.
So try to solve problems, like you have data structures, algorithms, you have logical questions. So they make you good developer. I think having technical understanding is equally important, but these logical understanding, having that
Hmm.
mindset
Hmm.
of a good developer is very crucial. So if you're starting out, and if you happen to be a good developer, if you get an interview call, and if you are able to showcase that, okay, you don't have a tech background, but you can be a good developer, you have good problem solving skills, that goes a long way. It will always help you in your career, but it will also help you in your interviews,
I
I
always
think, to
talk
get in.
about this problem solving, and I have made one meme based on the movie 300. You know, in 300 movie, there are like
Hmm.
300 soldiers who are like
Right, right.
problem solvers, and they meet another
Hmm.
army where one person is carpenter, one person is farmer, whatever, and then in the part time they just go and fight battles. And this guy says like
Hmm.
these 300 people we have, they are good in
Hmm.
fighting the battle. Doesn't matter what tool you want to use, they are problem solver. So I always talk about this.
Correct.
So people when they start learning things to move to IT career, they are so
Hmm.
much fascinated by all these jargons. Okay, I want to learn React, I want to learn TensorFlow. They
Right.
are so much focused on tools, they want to learn Kotlin because Kotlin is a
Yes.
new language. They don't
Yes.
focus on the basics. As you mentioned, the basics are data structures, algorithm, problem solving,
Hmm.
understanding ecosystem, like there is front end, there is back end, there is HTTP REST calls going on, understanding that.
Yeah.
And then whether you are
Yeah.
using Flask or Fast API or some Node.js framework, doesn't matter, they are all same. Once you learn one
Correct.
thing, learning other thing is going to be super duper fast. So focus on basics, don't get distracted in learning 100 fancy tools.
Totally agree. I think that always happens in IT. People are chasing the fancy. And at
Mm.
times, I think it's fine to learn, but you should still know the reality is you have to be a problem solver.
Okay, so that was
Uh,
the second tip, right? Is there any other tip you
yeah.
want to give?
Have people who are from non-IT backgrounds. It's very likely that if you're a BCom graduate, you
Mm.
most likely will have friends who are from BCom, right?
Yes.
So I think going to tech meetup is like a really powerful tool. You get
Mm.
free coffee, you get free snacks, and
Mm.
you get good knowledge
Mhm.
there, right? And there are like a lot of amazing people. So now I live in Dehradun, so I don't mostly get to go to
Mm.
tech events. But I was previously based out of Mumbai, so there are like a lot of tech events happening every week. And
Mm.
I think going there, networking, meeting people is a good experience. And you kind of no, so they usually pick up a topic, so you also learn a topic there. You
Mm.
would at least learn something about some language. So I think, yeah, networking and going to these tech events and finding a mentor, maybe that would be great.
So just to summarize, number one tip is just try it out. Don't live in a fear. Don't have self-doubt. Just try it out. You never know. You can be the best
Yeah,
programmer in the world. Second thing is
correct.
problem solving, not getting distracted with fancy tools. So that was the second point. And third point is mentoring and networking. Now, as I just said, Mumbai, Bangalore, New York, see, big cities have these tech events.
Yeah,
Nowadays, post COVID, there are virtual events too. So even if you're in Dehradun or
correct.
let's say you're sitting in a small town of Oklahoma, you can still attend
Hmm.
virtual events. And when you attend virtual events, don't think, let's say I'm a BCom graduate and there is some event, Java event or some AWS event going on. Okay. Don't
Hmm.
think you can't go there. Come on, what's gonna happen? Right?
Right.
You have to think about it. Like sometimes, see, these events have minor costs. Let's say 1,000 rupees. Now, 1,000 rupees you
Right.
people spend on buying a jeans pant or like two t-shirt easily. You
Right.
will not be
Right. Right.
wasting money, folks. This is a huge investment. This can change your life. You can earn lakhs of rupees. Don't be afraid of spending money
True.
on tech
True.
events. They are more useful than you buying like some fancy hoodie. See, when I go to any event, Ashish, let's say there is an event 9
Mm-hmm.
to 6 and there are talks
Right.
going on. I purposefully skip two or three talks. And during that time,
Okay.
I go out and I meet people. I meet
Okay.
people. I say, okay, hello, I'm Dhaval. I do this, that. What is your
Mm-hmm.
introduction? What do you do? Like, what are your thoughts on this AWS event? Just learn those skills, like how to break the ice. Many people are afraid, they don't know even how to talk to a
Yeah.
stranger. So if you
Yeah.
have time, rather than spending 5-10 hours learning Java, you spend 2 to 3 hours in learning how to talk to a stranger. Correct?
Correct.
There
Correct.
are so many videos, courses. That is more important than learning freaking Java.
Right. Right. Correct. Because that person might tell you something about Java which you might not learn in those 10 hours.
Yes. Or
Right.
he will guide you that, dude, don't do Java. Maybe do data analyst or maybe do RPA
Right.
because that's better. So that he will
Correct.
prevent you from going into a totally wrong direction. So that's why I
Yes.
tell to these people, see, they release this
Mm-hmm.
chat GPT new boat. I don't know you heard about it or that boat can
Yeah.
write
Yeah.
programs nowadays. Okay.
Right. Right.
So see, in the future, the importance of soft skills
Mm-hmm.
is only going to increase. Tech skills are important, but at the same time, soft skills are super important too. Now look at any person who is, let's say, building career in IT. Okay, folks, if you're
Right.
listening to this video, and if you are
Mm-hmm.
trying to build a career in IT or trying to switch transition, answer this one question: in last 1 week, how much time you spent in learning tech skills and how much time you spent in learning soft skills? I have asked this question,
Mm-hmm.
Ashish, to many people, and most of the time people say
Mm-hmm.
95 to 100% time they just learn tech skill. Okay, coding, Java, Python, JavaScript, endless. And if I say, okay, did you practice presentation skill? Did you learn the skill of how to talk to stranger? Did you learn skills of
Mm-hmm.
how to write emails effectively? Answer is
Mm-hmm.
usually no. And this
Right.
is the reason why you are behind. This is the reason why you're not getting interview call, because you don't know the importance of soft skills as much as you
Right.
should.
Right. I think I just want to add one point there. After 5, 6 years of experience, these skills matter more than your tech skills. So, you know,
100%. 100%.
so they are of value when you start, and they will be of value, few years down the line, they would be of more valuable than your tech skills. So, makes a lot of sense in that way to, learn soft skills, I think.
One more skill I say is domain skill. Let's say there are some
Mm-hmm.
mechanical engineers who will work in some supply chain domain basically, but as a mechanical engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Now they want to move to
Mm-hmm.
IT or let's say data industry. They think, oh, I have to
Right.
start again. No, you are 100% wrong. The domain knowledge that you have gained in supply chain industry is going to be
Right.
super useful when you become data
Mm.
analyst or data scientist in supply chain domain. When these companies
Right.
hire,
Right.
right? I was talking with
Mm.
someone who is working as a data scientist in Halliburton. Halliburton is a petroleum company. This guy has a
Okay.
petroleum degree. He doesn't know coding,
Mm.
nothing. He's a petroleum engineer.
Okay.
But the company Halliburton, when they hire, their number one criteria is person should have petroleum domain knowledge. They don't care
Right.
if you don't know Python, etc., because you will learn that. They care more about domain knowledge. So if you're again trying to transition, if you are from supply
Mm.
chain domain, electrical domain, economics domain, that domain knowledge is super duper useful, folks. Again, this is super duper useful. So don't have this self doubt that, oh, IT is like, it's not like you're starting all over again. 50%
Right.
battle is covered already. You agree?
Yeah, yeah. Personally, it has come to me also. So I started off with kind of finance background. So most of my initial job, like I was in insurance and operation JP Morgan. So again, operations. That's it. And now, if you see, most of my development experience is also in like financial system. It is a very big advantage to me. So
Hmm.
because I bring to the table financial knowledge which most software developers can't even relate to. So
Yes,
there's concept, very financial concepts that software developers can't relate to. So I think it's true. It's very very true that
this
domain
is
knowledge
one
is of great importance.
this is one big disadvantage of having a BTech computer science degree, because you just learn computer science. You're not learning a domain. I feel the same. I
Correct,
didn't
correct.
learn domain. I learned finance when I was working at Bloomberg on my job.
Mm,
But let's say if I had some
mm,
finance degree, CFA something, I would have
mm,
strong, solid understanding in that domain. And then learning
mm.
computers and programming is easy. You can learn online. All right.
Yeah.
I think we have
Okay.
wrapped all our questions. Do you have any closing comments? There will be, remember, Ashish, there are many BCom graduates who are probably watching this video. Do you have any closing comments or anything that you want to say to them?
You start with something concrete. You don't just go on a random path. Find a path and stick to it and go ahead.
Go ahead and
Don't say,
stick to it. Like
yeah,
don't leave
yeah.
in between. Some people
Don't leave in between.
learn like Java for 2 months and they say, "Oh, Java is not my cup of tea," and then just they leave.
Right,
I,
right, right.
So I guess the right guidance
Yeah.
is okay. Find a mentor, decide a path, stick to it. Don't get distracted, because I've seen people who learn Java for 2 months, then they hear some data analyst. Okay, data
Yeah,
science.
right.
They leave this path, join that, and they go nowhere. So I think
Then
sticking on
there
the
is no.
path is important. Having confidence is important, and the most important
Hmm.
thing is taking that first step.
Right,
Oh,
right. Yeah, taking that first step is like most crucial. That will make all the changes.
yep. All right, Ashish, thank you very much for spending time for this conversation. We are going to provide your LinkedIn profile in the video description.
Hmm.
So maybe you will
Okay.
get messages from many people who wants to make this transition, and
Yeah.
based on your availability, you can guide them.
Yeah, I would say I would be more than happy because I have seen this struggle, so I know how it feels. So yeah, everybody is more than welcome. I would try as much as possible, to help out.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thanks, Dhaval. Bye.